A new $200 million game-changing F1 factory for Aston Martin is taking shape at Silverstone. All the progress Aston Martin, formerly known as Jordan, has made since being headed by the billionaire businessman Lawrence Stroll, who bought it in August 2018. Like the victory in the 2020 Sakir Grand Prix. Its transformation into Aston Martin Racing and the aggressive recruitment won't be until May next year, when the team is scheduled to move into its game-changer new factory. During the first year as Aston Martin, after a rebounding four-time world champion Sebastian Vettel arrived for the final 2 seasons of his F1 career. For 2023, his seat will be taken by Fernando Alonso, another all-time great who ditched Alpine in favor of Aston Martin. The hiring of Sebastian Vettel was a strong display of intention, and replacing the German for 2023 with a fellow former world champion in Fernando Alonso was another sign that Stroll means business. He also went on a headhunting spree for key players, notably hiring Red Bull aerodynamics wizard Dan Fallows as his technical director, and Eric Blandon for Mercedes as the head of Aero. For supporting the team, engineering talent has arrived from throughout the grid after years of punching above its weight on a shoestring budget. Now it has the might to mount a charge for the very front of the grid. In March 2021, Stroll roughly talked about a 5-year plan for Aston Martin to be challenging for F1 titles, with the big part of the blueprint being a new, state-of-the-art factory out of which it'll operate. Last September, ground was broken on the 37,000 square meter site around the existing factory at Silverstone, once home to the team's distant predecessor, Jordan, with the goal of having it up and running in 2023. When the ground was broken on the site at Silverstone, Stroll explained that he wanted the new Aston Martin factory to be the reverse of what Ron Dennis did, with the McLaren Technology Center in working, prioritizing function, not aesthetics. Actually, the factory is being built in 3 chunks, the first of which is set to be completed in May 2023. This will be the main building of the race team, where the car will be designed and out of which all the major operations will be conducted. The second building to open will be home to the new wind tunnel, which is set to open Q3 of 2024, before a third building is then opened as an employee experience and event space on the site of the existing factory. The 3 buildings will be connected by bridges. Bridges will connect the 3 different buildings that will form Aston Martin's new Silverstone factory. Even though there's still plenty to be done before it can open, the main building is quickly taking shape. The race team will base its operation on the ground floor and has already heavily involved in ensuring the design of the building meets their needs and there is a correct flow between all departments. Small details such as cabinet or drawer placement can have a big impact on work processes, making it important for them to be considered and implemented accordingly. It's function over fashion. Upstairs in the factory will be an open-plan technical office, something Technical Director Dan Fallows, formerly of Red Bull, is confident can be conducive to encouraging creativity when it comes to car design. I've been in a big open-plan office before with the ability to be able to walk around and talk to people very easily, he says. It makes a huge difference in terms of those interactions, particularly those serendipitous interactions where you can have a chat with somebody where you have a chat about one thing and go on to lots of other things. They often end up being the most creative conversations. That's what we're trying to build, really. The design office will be, well, illuminated, partly by the skylights adjacent to it that run the length of the building above the street. This runs 160 meters through the length of the building 1, offering not just the natural light that staff throughout will benefit from, but also aiding communication and access. While the upper floor houses the design office, race support room, and senior management officers, among other departments, the lower floor is what might be called the more industrial space. Running through the heart of the main factory is a center 160-meter-long street that will keep the whole building connected, avoiding the labyrinth layout seen in other F1 factories. Elements such as the placement of the windows facing north to be kinder on computer screens and stop solar gain have also been considered with the workforce in mind. The upper level has windows running right around that will offer views of Northamptonshire countryside and from the balcony outside Stroll's office where so many of the decisions for the team will be taken in the future. A view of Silverstone racetrack. Will it be the best factory in F1? It's a question that is easy to answer. According to team principal Mike Crack, yeah, Various composite departments, including 4 autoclaves, electronics, the pattern shop, the race shop, and multiple other manufacturing departments are located here. The efficiency of their layout translates to other efficiencies that are essential under the cost cap. Not only does the new building eliminate the inefficiencies inherent in the current team setup, but it also incorporates technology that'll better track its processes. It's a smart factory that'll allow closer monitoring and analysis, allowing a team that is operating at the cost cap to squeeze the most out of every penny. But as impressive as the factory is shaping up to be, the real measure of its success will come in what it produces via the future Aston Martin F1 cars. The AMR 23 is set to be the last car to be designed and produced out of the existing factory, with the shift next spring meaning the 2024 model will come out of a new facility. Coming 2025, the car will have benefited from using the most up-to-date wind tunnel in F1. McLaren is also in the process of building a new wind tunnel, meaning only 2 teams will have a facility built within the last decade. There's no doubt that it'll be a world-class facility, and having access to that 24/7, if required, is obviously very important, says Fallows. As we improve and our wind tunnel runs, availability that we have from the aerodynamic testing restrictions goes down. Clearly, we wouldn't be spending as much time in the tunnel, but having your own facility means you can do other experiments as well, which is invaluable and something we don't necessarily have the luxury of doing at the moment, sharing the tunnel with another team. Getting everything under one roof is an important step for Aston Martin, although it isn't looking to ditch its approach of working with Mercedes for its power unit and some listed parts in the immediate future, believing neither to be big drawbacks. The thing under its control will now be given great attention. We have the ability, when everything is on site, to be able to be much more detailed in terms of the analytics and detailing the production process, analyzing that in a way that allows us to improve it much more so than if you're using external people, Fallows explains. That's probably the key difference. This may give the team what it needs to take the next step forward. Its recovery from a difficult start to the year has given confidence. It is on the right path for next year. Although Fallows said to expect some significant differences on the AMR 23, the motivation offered to staff by the new site at Silverstone is also something the team is tapping into, holding regular tours to show its workers how plans are progressing. We have a lot of momentum, says Crack. You feel the spirit when you come in here. I think honestly, we have reason to believe we can continue on that path. Coughing up in the region of $200 million on a new factory is proof of Lawrence Stroll's commitment to making the Aston Martin F1 project work, meaning it must have the long term in mind. This would be the first team facility constructed with F1's new budget cap in mind, which means that efficiencies created by getting everything under one roof are much more valuable. If departments can come along cheaper and quicker, it'll leave more time and money to produce more parts or chase further upgrades, all of which will push the team forward on track. Fallows is confident that having everything under the same roof will make Aston more efficient. You have the ability to make everything yourself, but you can also decide to buy or make it, and you can make things faster, says Crack. So if you can make them also cheaper, it means you can make more. You can have 1 or 2 more upgrades than before, due to time, and also financial reasons you could not do it. From that point of view, I think it's a good step. But Crack feels the most significant gains will come on the human side of things by having everything under one roof. It'll be massively different and massively easier, he says. From that point of view, I fully agree with using the word game changer for team dynamics and logistics. Stroll has made clear throughout the planning and construction of the factory that he wants everything to feel like Aston Martin. It must hold a certain gravitas, a commitment to quality and chasing success. As the site nears completion and the team prepares to move in midway through the next season, the momentum is picking up, may only snowball. As Aston Martin gears up to take the next step and join F1's elite, its new factory will be a major moment and may well act as a statement of intent to its rivals. Whether Aston Martin makes good on its F1 ambitions remains to be seen, but if it fails, it won't be for lack of trying. Its new facility is well conceived. Not just bricks and mortar and expensive equipment, but also tailored to the personnel who will work in it. And, if it lives up to expectations, optimized for F1's new cost cap era. There can be no question the level of investment. Such a facility is no guarantee of success, but it is a prerequisite for it. And once the team moves in next year and gets its wind tunnel up and running in 2024, there will be no excuses if it doesn't live up to its ambitions in the middle years of the decade. Let us know in the comment section if you think that Aston Martin's new factory will be a launchpad for a success that Stroll wants.